Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very cool anti-meta pick for the Fossil Cup, and that is Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a water and ground type Pokemon with the moveset of Mud Slap, Body Slam, and Earth Power, and I'm running it as a closer in an ABB style team. I have Ferrothorn on the lead. I have Shadow Quagsire as the safe switch to hopefully bait out their best counter to Gastrodon, and then Gastrodon, the Mud Slap user, as the closer. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Gastrodon in action in the Fossil Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a terrific lead, Ferrothorn into Jellicent. Opponent is going to safe switch into Berserker, and we get to send in the hard counter of Gastrodon. Gastrodon just absolutely crushes steel safe swaps as we're able to tank whatever they throw, and now I'm going to fire off the Body Slam just to ensure they don't make a 2-second charge move. So this way I very comfortably keep switch, and if my opponent wants the Hex down, I'm going to be able to make it to the Earth Power here. Gastrodon makes it to the Earth Power, and this will deal some solid damage onto the Jellicent. Jellicent actually is going to commit the shield. They're looking to farm down and leave with 100 energy. I make it to the last second Body Slam. This is of course double resisted. It's not going to do much of any damage, but hey, I'm just looking for whatever damage I can get. They have 100 energy here. They're going to fire off the Shadow Ball into the Ferrothorn. I'm farming up, and they're at another Shadow Ball. Tough decision to make. I decide to let this through as I will be able to survive it. I try and go for the switch, but I get sniped by Lucario. And suddenly, things are looking a bit scary here, as Lucario does have a lot of play into Quagsire. Lucario is able to grab my shield with a power-up punch. It was only enough for a power-up punch, but at this point, I need to preserve whatever HP I can, and that means shielding power-up punches. I am going to be committing the shield here as they fire off power-up punch number 2. I'm going to overfarm one Mud Shot and go for the Mud Bomb. This will be lethal. Opponent can send back in the Jellicent. It's going to be a race, and Quagsire makes it to the Stone Edge. Stone Edge KOs the Jellicent, and that's a good game. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Ferrothorn into Escavalier. Immediate save switch into Shadow Quagsire. Opponent not switching out. So you know what? I'm going to fire off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb does quite a lot of damage to the Glassy Escavalier. They elect to no shield, and in case they Acid Spray, I'm going to let this go. Opponent is going to full send the Drill Run, and now they send in Jellicent. Jellicent will be able to farm down and leave with quite a lot of energy here. Quagsire fires off the Mud Bomb. Quagsire trying to make it to another Mud Bomb, but unfortunately that is not going to happen. Jellicent fires off the Shadow Ball. As we saw in that first match, Ferrothorn can take the Shadow Ball pretty well. I'm looking to farm up and go for the Power Whip before they make it to Shadow Ball number 2. This will be lethal. Our switch clocks are a bit misaligned. In comes the Escav. I send in the Gastrodon. I get the full farm down. It's a Lantern in the back, and the opponent concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, picking up the Dream lead, Ferrothorn into Shadow Swampert. Opponent safe switches into their own Ferrothorn, and that's not what I'm hoping to see. As unfortunately, with 2 Mud Boys in the back, I have to stay in here because my only counter to an opposing Ferrothorn is my own. I'm able to land the Thunder. My opponent is running Flash Cannon, and that is not good news for me, as even though Thunder is able to outpace Flash Cannon gets same type attack bonus and is a lot better of a move. So unfortunately, it looks like not only am I forced to stay in here, but I'm actually not going to be able to KO this Ferrothorn with mine. As they land the Flash Cannon, I'm going for the Thunder, but they're going to be able to make the Power Whip before I make mine. So unfortunately, they are going to be able to win switch. So here, I am going to go for an aggressive Mud Shot farm down with the Shadow Quagsire. The Shadow Quagsire's energy is basically unpunishable in this meta. In the back, they have Cradilly. You have got to be kidding me. We're running double Mud Boy, they're running double Grass. Mud Bomb gets the shield, they're firing off the Grass Knot, and I have to shield everything here. This is double super effective damage. I farm up to the Stone Edge, and I'm firing off a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb is going to be no shielded by Cradilly, farming up with the Quagsire, making it to another Stone Edge, and this will be lethal. Again, baiting with the Mud Bomb. Opponent commits the shield. This is now approaching Mud Bomb range, and I'm going to commit my final shield. Have to watch for a potential switch. Opponent sends in the Shadow Swampert, and I bring in Gastrodon. I'm hoping they go for the Earthquake, as Earthquake I would be able to survive. Opponent goes for the double Hydro, Hydro number 1, but they do not have Hydro number 2, and I'm able to get a Body Slam. Body Slam gets them low. They throw 1 and the move, and this is going to be close. Now the question is, can I mud shot down with the Quagsire? Quagsire looking for the mud shot down, and 1 HP. Quagsire survives, gets to the Stone Edge, and against all odds, Double Mud Boy beats Double Grass, and that's a good game. We see a familiar lead, Ferrothorn into a Scavalier. Same game plan as before, save switch into the Shadow Quagsire, and my opponent this time is going to respond with a Pelipper. Now, Pelipper is a matchup that Shadow Quagsire does have the ability to flip, but it does require a double bait. I decide to go for the Mud Bomb bait, and they do shield. That is big. And now, I'm in a position where I can potentially make a play for switch advantage. I would love to have the Escav aligned onto the Gastrodon instead of to the Ferrothorn. I'm baiting again. It's risky, but it works. Opponent double shields, and I make it to the Stone Edge. This is going to be one-shotting the Pelipper, and just like that, I have switch advantage and shield advantage. I send in the Gastrodon in the bag. They have a Lantern, so they are core broken by the Gastrodon. I'm very comfortably going to be able to tank the Surf, and then I can bank the Earth Power, so I can throw that on the Escav later, and now I can bring in the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn, of course, is going to be resisting everything that the Lantern has. They go for the Thunderbolt, and that just does absolutely nothing to Ferrothorn. I'm farming up, and I am firing off the Power Whip. Power Whip, of course, will take care of the Lantern. Back in comes the Escavalier. Escav will fire off a charge move. Drill Run is going to be close. They full send the Mega Horn. That's going to KO. But I can send in the Gastrodon. We saved that Earth Power from earlier. Massive damage onto Escavalier. And Gastrodon secures the victory. Steel leads continue in the next match. Ferrothorn into Shadow A/Slash. As before, I'm going to immediately save switch into Shadow Quagsire, and my opponent is going to respond with Pelipper. Last time, I was able to win switch with a double bait. I'm going to try it again. Mud Bomb gets no shielded. Opponent calls the bait, and now I'm in a terrible spot. I decide to call a bait back. They full send the Hurricane, and not only do I not get switch advantage, but I didn't get a shield advantage either. So I just really have to hope that with the flyer out of the way, that Gastrodon will shred my opponent's remaining Pokemon. They're going to be firing off another Hurricane with the Pelipper that rocks the Ferrothorn. I am going to fire off the Thunder. Thunder is going to be lethal, double super effective damage. In comes the Gastrodon. It's Galissapod in the back, and I resign the match. The tough leads continue in the next match. Ferrothorn into Registeel. Immediate save switch into Shadow Quagsire, and my opponent is not switching out. So it looks like they do not have a strong counter to the Quagsire save switch, which is very good news for my Gastrodon in the back. I land the Mud Bomb, so I'm going to let this Focus Blast go. Focus Blast does quite a lot of damage. My opponent now going to send in a Shadow Marshtomp. That is some incredibly cool spice. Props to my opponent. Mud Bomb does a lot of damage. I'm farming up to the next Mud Bomb, but Marshtomp winning CMP and denying that energy. Mud Bomb will be lethal. I'm going to send in the Ferrothorn and fully commit to the farm down. This way I leave with energy because the Registeel already took a lot of damage. So hopefully I can go for the Thunder and put it into a range where I can farm down with the Gastrodon. Opponent recognizing the clocks are desynced is going to fully wait their timer, send in the Registeel. I'm firing off the Thunder here. Thunder is going to get Reggie deep into the red. In comes the Gastrodon. It's Lucario in the back. And the opponent concedes the match. The Steel leads will not quit as we lead Ferrothorn into Shadow A/Slash. I save switch into Shadow Quagsire. Opponent staying in here and looking for the Ice Punch chip damage before they switch out. I'm going to let this through. Ice Punch is able to connect. My opponent now going to send in Jellicent. Jellicent, not a prototypical answer to a Mud Boy, so hopefully that means Gastrodon can do well in the back. I'm farming up. I do not make the Stone Edge. Surf will KO, but they're running Bubble Beam of all things. Opponent opting instead of Surf, going for Bubble Beam, and it's going to cost them in this matchup as I make not one but two more Mud Bombs. Despite the debuff, this will be lethal, and my opponent is forced to go down a shield. So definitely not ideal for my opponent, and I can now send in Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is going to be able to tank the Shadow Ball, no problem, and Ferrothorn looking for the full farm down. Jellicent able to make the last second charge move here. It is going to be the Bubble Beam as they fell short of the Shadow Ball. I get the farm down. I'm debuffed. I send in Gastrodon, and it's Shadow Gyarados in the back. This is not what I was hoping to see. Shadow Gyarados, unfortunately, is a very tough matchup for Gastrodon due to the fact that Gastrodon's Mud Slaps are double resisted. I fire off the body slam. Shadow Gyarados is pretty glassy, but they're going to be able to survive that. I'm farming up, I make the next body slam, and this is honestly pretty good for me, as they're going to be forced to burn that final shield, and from here, I should be in an okay situation, I think, because I have so much energy on the Ferrothorn. They go for the Aqua Tail, I send in the Ferrothorn, and I'm saving this energy. I'm going to Bullet Seed down, and they're going to bring in the Sand Slash into the Loaded Thunder. But they have a lot of health on the Sand Slash here. Thunder, not going to KO, but a Power Whip might. So Thunder plus the Power Whip. Is this going to be enough to KO? Yes, it is. In comes the Gyarados. Ferrothorn farms down, and that's a good game. We've got same leads in the next match. Ferrothorn into Shadow A-Slash. Again, I'm safe switching into the Shadow Quagsire, and like last game, my opponent is going to be firing off the Ice Punch before they switch out. Do they send in the Jellicent? Yes, they do. It looks like this is a pretty common team, leading the Alolan Sandslash and having that Jellicent in the back. I'm farming up, I'm making it to the Stone Edge, and Stone Edge is going to get them into a range where if it lands, I can actually double shield, farm down, and take switch. And that's my goal, because Mud Slap from the Gastrodon is going to absolutely crush the Shadow A-Slash. They make it to double surf. I'm going to double shield because you know what? I want switch advantage here. And now I leave with either a Stone Edge or a Mud Bomb to threaten whatever they send in. They're waiting the clock. They send in the Sand Slash and I'm firing off the Mud Bomb. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make a second Mud Bomb here, as unfortunately, I will get farmed down. But I can send in the Gastrodon in the back. They have Golisopod, and winning switch advantage was absolutely massive. I now need Ferrothorn down a shield to massively clutch. I fire off the Power Whip. It ends up being a CMP tie, which is not ideal, as unfortunately, had I gone for the extra, I could have gotten an entire Bullet Seed of energy for free. The Power Whip bait is successful. They're firing off X-Scissor number 2. The question is, can I make it to the Thunder? It's gonna be close, and I get outpaced by a single turn. So I fought so hard for switch, but it's not going to matter, as Golisopod, unfortunately, will be able to survive the Body Slam here. This is a very difficult team for this team to beat. I was able to make it as close as I possibly could, but from here, they can just Liquidation, combo play with the energy from the Sand Slash, so I resigned the match. We've got mirror match in the next game, Ferrothorn versus Ferrothorn. Considering what I have in the back, I am definitely happy to catch my opponent's Ferrothorn on the lead. I'm farming up and going straight for the Thunder here. We'll have to see. Last time I was in a Ferrothorn mirror match, opponent was actually running Flash Cannon, so we'll have to see, are they running Thunder or are they running Flash Cannon, and they're running Thunder. That is pretty decent news for me. At the very least, we'll pace at the same time. It's all just going to come down to who wins CMP. I don't have the best ranked Ferrothorn. Like, the IV spread isn't bad, but as you can see, being at 1477, definitely not ideal. I'm able to tank that Thunder. I'm going for another Thunder, and my opponent is never letting it go to CMP. So I'm still not aware of who's going to win CMP in this matchup. They're going to fire off their Thunder here. Thunder, of course, not going to be enough to KO. It'll be a CMP tie on the Power Whip. Actually, my opponent does not go for the CMP tie there. Power Whip will be lethal. We'll have to see what they decide to send in. Is it going to be a Mud Boy? Are they running the same team as me? They send in a Mud Boy, and it's Swampert. So it looks like they have a pretty similar idea in terms of team composition, just with a different Mud Boy. This is not enough for an Earthquake, so I can no-shield. It is going to be the Hydro Cannon, but the unfortunate thing is that they can no-shield a Mud Bomb as well. Neither one of our charge moves are going to be lethal, and they have an energy lead. We pace identically, but with their energy head start, I'm in a bit of an awkward situation here. I do typically want to try and save at least one shield for my Gastrodon, so I am going to be keeping that in mind. Mud Bomb will be shielded. They're firing off the Hydro Cannon here, and at this point, I think I just have to trust in the Gastrodon. In comes the Gastrodon. Opponent is going to make the Hydro, and I'm in a tough spot. Do I burn the final shield? The answer is yes. In the back, it's a Scavalier, and I'm farming up energy with the Gastrodon. I'm baiting with the Body Slam. Typically in this meta, Scavalier are running Drill Run and Acid Spray. I should be able to tank a Drill Run here. My only worry is that it's a Mega Horn, and it is, and that's game over. Hopping into the final match, we see a Dream lead Ferrothorn into Mantine. Opponent save switches into Melmetal, and I have terrible news for the Melmetal as it's getting absolutely deleted by Mudslaps from Gastrodon. They go for the superpower. Gastrodon is able to tank multiple superpowers here. As you're going to see, I can very comfortably no-shield the second one, fully farm down, and leave with quite a lot of energy that I can use to get some chip damage onto the Mantine. Obviously, we know Thunder will hit for double super effective damage, but if I land a couple of these body slams, then it should start to approach Power Whip range. I'm able to make it to another body slam. I think I'm going to get farmed down before I make a third. I'm still going to try and go for it. Opponent in the back, they have Registeel, and unfortunately, I just have them hard countered here. They're running double steel, and I'm running double ground. Mud Bomb is going to connect. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. All in all, I had a ton of fun getting to run Gastrodon. Gastrodon definitely feels like it has a nice anti-meta role, specifically as a closer. There are Pokemon like Lucario that can oftentimes in the twos just go straight power-up punch and just power-up punch through the Mud Boys, and Gastrodon is a Mud Boy that Lucario is not able to do that to, so I feel like that does have some nice value, especially in shields down situations, as due to its bulk and the fast move pressure of Mudslap, it can function as a nice closer. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.